Okay, everyone, welcome to the New Now. My name is Tom Matzel. I'm out of Seattle, Washington. I'm actually a performance coach. I work with individuals and corporate America and entrepreneurs, help get the best results possible. And today, I'm lucky enough to actually have Tah Whitty, actually out of Austin, Texas today. And he is actually a coach also that we met probably about 6 to 8 months ago down in California. We were actually at a conference for coaches. And I was really attracted to Tah and his wife because they spoke with such passion and abilities to understand not only how to get results, but actually how to maximize your efficiency with your body and your intentional mindset. So I thought during this time of a pandemic, when a lot of us want to figure out how to pivot or do things differently and be most effective, I thought this would be great to go to an expert. So with that said, I'd like to introduce Tah, and thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, man. Are we good? Are we stable with the connection? Because the
We
internet.
are, we are what we are.
Awesome, man. So my name is Tah Whitty. I live in Austin, Texas. I am from Brooklyn, New York originally. I moved here about almost a year and a half ago. Um, I am a biointegration specialist. I help entrepreneurs who are moving from seven figures to eight figures to integrate their bodies into their businesses and their lifestyles completely. One of the things that we've found is my wife and I have found working together is that people's the body is the hub point of our human experiences. Once your body is gone, there is no experience. So we say you are nobody without your body. And people tend to build businesses around teams and systems and that type of stuff, but they don't have these systems and teams for their body. And so we show people how to actually really integrate their body into all aspects of their lives, not to really fraction themselves off into the work body and the family body and the fun body. It's all one being. So being able to get the body to integrate into all of those things is a process that we're not taught in schools. We're not taught this in job education. We're not taught this in any of these places. I practiced nursing in New York City for 25 years. I'm still a nurse. I've been a nurse for 28 years. I practiced emergency nursing for 23 of those 25 years. I ran ERs. I worked at 12 different hospitals in New York City because I was interested in seeing how humans function in different areas, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different ethnicities, and all of that stuff. So I have a great wealth of education and experience with human beings. And I learned a lot about how the human nervous system works and the things that are blocking human beings from actually optimizing their lifestyles. And so that's what we do. We help people to actually optimize their bodies into every aspect of their lives from a creative space that they choose, not from a space that they are forced into. So most of us from my experience, most human beings are taught that this is how life should be. You're born, you're raised by your parents. You have to fit into society the way society says. You have to follow these rules. You have to do these things. So your body is actually is trained and conditioned into society. And so people that don't feel connected to the things that they're doing, they may not feel connected to their family, they may not feel connected to their business or their jobs, they may not feel connected to these things, and then their body starts to disagree with things, and it can cause the body to crash. So people have repeated health crashes, repeated relationship crashes, because there's this internal self-sabotage going on. So we help people to see the unique language that each body speaks and how to actually navigate that space.
This is awesome, and this is perfect timing, I think, because a lot of us are um, basically have to be inside. And what I'm seeing, I've read a couple articles that the divorce rate is spiking because people are just doing that. People have, I'm running out, but I talk to a lot of my friends and family and clients, and they're saying we're gaining so much weight. They're just, they have an excuse. I'll raise my hand. I'm the first one that's disconnected when I'm working sometimes. I'll forget it'll be 7 at night and like, oh my gosh, I haven't eaten. And, I know over time my adrenal glands could go. So it's one of those things that a lot of us don't really focus too much on our body because we just think our engine's going to be there. But just like our car, if we don't give it proper oil and treatment, one day it's going to blow. So I think this is a fantastic time to focus in on this and work with someone who's an expert that have been from maybe Western medicine, maybe some Eastern medicine, and some other components that, can really help some people out.
Yeah, I mean, I deal with a lot of different modalities. I've explored a lot of things. I've put my body through some really wonderful spaces and rigors and all kinds of stuff. So I have been the guinea pig for a lot of the things that I do with people. And so I would never put anyone else into a space that I have not been into. That includes exercise, that includes nutrition, that includes whatever. I would not put another person in a space that I have not been in. I would not suggest anything like that. What I would suggest is a person educates and informs themselves about themselves. Most people that I work with, and these are like most of the people that we work with are really high powered financial gurus, people who are making a ton of money, but this is a realm that they have no idea about. They don't know how proteins work in the body, how fats work in the body, how carbohydrates work in the body, how water works, how oxygen works, have no clue of how any of this stuff works. And we have amazing science that can show us really easily how these things work so that we can optimize the body into these spaces. And the place that we start when we're working with people is honesty. And there's a we tend to think of our body as just a physical situation, and it's more than that. It's an energetic situation. Every atom in your body has an energy source, and it rotates and moves, and it interacts with other atoms to become molecules. Those molecules become elements of cells and that type of stuff. And this is how we live in life. So when you can start to understand the foundations of that, you can change things. And honesty, being honest with yourself, helps you to express, right, or to hold back. When the foundational construct of society is identity, who I believe I am, who I believe you believe I am, who I believe we believe I am, who I believe they believe I am. And when you are presenting that to the world, every atom in your body has to kind of agree with that presentation. And when you're not honest with that, with yourself, you're actually holding back your true presentation. So your body is kind of doing this all the time. If your normal posture is this, is kind of chill, and you're hiding, you're kind of forcing yourself into this all the time. Or if you're trying to be super brave and you're doing this all the time, there's this tension in your body that is dishonest, and your whole body has to perform in that space. It doesn't allow you to relax. And when you're constantly activated, there's two realms in your nervous system: the sympathetic realm and the parasympathetic realm. And the sympathetic realm is that realm of activation. It's when you get active. It's when you exercise. It's when you run. It's when you fight or flight. When you get into parasympathetic, that is the kind of chill space. That's the kind of relax and rest and rejuvenate space. And when we get into that sympathetic space, that's when the adrenal activity starts to happen and the adrenals get revved up. And if you make your adrenals rev up out of a habit of presentation all the time, doing all the time, your adrenals get burned out and the rest of your body gets burned out. And it causes your brain to be very, very active. And when you look at our sciences, according to our current sciences, the brain utilizes about 20 to 25% of your body's resources of water, oxygen, and energy at any given time when you're at rest. When you're active and when your adrenals are up and when you're hyper and all of these things are going on, that drives your brain's usage up dramatically. And if you're using 35, 40, 50, 60% of your body's resources from the cheekbone up, that's 2% of your body weight taking the resources away from the rest of your body. So it can never catch up. So being honest about yourself and being honest in your life actually allows you to kind of relax and takes the resources that you've been draining away from your adrenals, away from your brain, and it kind of lets your body get into a space where you can actually relax and see things from a greater stance and let your body adjust into things differently. So in the work that we've been doing, being honest about where you live, and this is why, like you were saying a couple of seconds ago, the divorce rates are up. People are separating. All of these things are happening because people are in their households with people that they don't really like, and they never really liked, or they never really had a chance to see what it's like to get along with a person for an extended period of time before they lock themselves into something. And so when you're in that space, your body can't relax, it can't rest, it becomes problematic. So you have all of these people, so being honest about where you live. Do you like your home? Do you like how your home is decorated? Do you like the carpet in your house? Do you like the location, the city, all of these things? Being honest about that with yourself, and saying, hey man, I don't like this place, and being able to express that to somebody. Or I really love this place, and being able to settle yourself into it. Do you like the people you live with? Do you love your family? I have people who have been coming to me. I realize that I don't want to be married to this person. What do I do? I realized that I don't even really want to be a parent. I thought I was going to be able to just be a parent, send my kids to work. I don't have to deal with that. Now I have to live with my kids. And I really didn't realize that I don't want to be a parent. And I'll do it because I know I have to, but this is something that I didn't realize, that I thought that society was just going to take my kids and go to school, and I'd be able to just chill or go to work or whatever. Do I like, do I like my spouse? Am I having the sex that I want to have? And do I like the food that I'm eating? What is my relationship to credit, taxes, finance? Do I feel comfortable with these things? Am I able to be honest? And if these things are all running in the background of your identity, you are revved up and presenting in a way that may not be congruent with who you really are, so that you can just relax. And when you get into that space, it becomes problematic, and it becomes a disease process. You are uneasy, and it becomes a dis-ease after a while. And this can lead to physical breakdown of the body. And that's what we show people, man. We show people how to be honest with themselves. Do you really agree with these things? I recently have a client who doesn't want to be in the business that she's in, and she's built up this amazing business with this partner, and she doesn't want to do it. And now she has all this guilt, and she's presenting like she wants to do it, and she doesn't know how to get out of it. So we have sit downs with the other person, so our nervous system can calm down, and we can talk about these things so that she can actually turn the business over to the other person, and she can get back to living the way she wants to live. And these are some of the things that people don't realize that are going on in the background, that they've suppressed and they've hidden from themselves. So being able to be really, really radically honest about the things in your life, about the people in your life, about the way you act, about things you do. If you don't like to exercise or whatever, being honest is the start point.
Nice. That's a huge amount. And I know we only have 45 minutes or so, and we're going to get into this a little more, but I want to just take a step back and understand how you got to where you are. It sounds like you, I don't know if you were born in New York. I'm interested. I was born in New York and grew up in New York when I was younger, and I'm probably a recipient of what you're saying, or represented. I was the youngest of four. I was told what to do: go to Catholic school, do this, go to college, do this, do this, do this. And before you know it, you're doing that. And for me, it was corporate America. And there's massive benefits to corporate America, but we were taught to pay our bills. That's the best way to go about doing it. And then through recessions, through getting let go, or whatever happens at a job, you either move on or you move up. And I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to maybe try the entrepreneurial side, and maybe that's more fitting for my personality, and everyone's different. So the one thing I've learned is, when people find their, I say, magic or synergy, where they're kind of their personality and abilities match up with their job or the person they're with and everything else, it's a nice fit. But I want to understand, like, what got you to where you are today, because I think that's a lot to understand. People, if they've grown up in a certain way, in an abusive household or around certain things, they see things in a different way. I grew up the youngest of four, and my brothers and sisters were great role models for me, and they were always helpful. And so I wanted to be helpful for other people. And that's why I think coaching came natural to me. And I also didn't want to be in a cubicle, I'll be honest with you. So, but love to hear your story of how you got, brothers, sisters, parents, and what kind of got you into the jazz of knowing your body like you do.
Sure, man. As a kid, I was born 23 months after my brother. So my brother was born on January 2nd. I was born on December 16th, 23 months after my brother. And I have a younger sister as well. But when I was around 5 or 6, I remember asking my mother, how come sometimes my brother is 1 year older, and how come sometimes he's 2 years older, because of that little month gap.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, well, you were the surprise baby. We didn't plan for you. So you were the baby that was a surprise. And so I as a creative child, took that as I was a mistake. And so I built my entire life around making sure that my mother saw value in me because I felt like I was never enough because I was a mistake. And this was something I created. She didn't tell me that I was a mistake. She said I was a surprise. And but you know, as a kid, you can create some stuff. And if you don't share that, or if you're afraid to share that, you can build some real crazy stories and build your identity around something that is incongruent with your life. So everything that I did, and I lied as a kid. I lied about everything so that my mother would not think that there was something wrong with me, so that my mother would not think that something was bad about me. And this went on my entire life, okay, until my early 40s. I lied about everything. I lied to everyone. Everything was a lie. I lied in my relationships. I lied about friendships. I lied and lied and lied, and it made my body into this just nightmarish hell of pain. And there was always this presentation, and I had to keep track of lies with this person, with that person, with this person, then all of them at the same time. Then when we were all together, I had to make sure that all of these lies were congruent. So there was this juggling of things that was going on in my life. Meanwhile, I had this great love for everybody, and I wanted everybody to be fine. I wanted everybody to be happy. I wanted everybody to be connected. And the only person I did not look out for was me. And so I created these lies. I made sure that if this person was upset at this person, I could craft lies to make people feel good themselves together because I wanted everybody to be happy. I didn't want anybody to be a mistake like me. And this was a big, big issue for me. And this went for my whole life until I ended up breaking my back. I had multiple injuries, multiple times. I'd been in and out of fitness training. That's what I did on the side. I did nursing, and then on the side, I was doing fitness stuff. And my body would have these ups and downs and ups and downs and ups, and I would just gain weight and lose weight, and all of this stuff was happening to my body. I was told when I was like 17 that I would be blind by the time I was 40. I was diagnosed with something called retinitis pigmentosa, and I wore glasses from the time I was 12 until the time until but 4 years ago. This May was 5 years as the last time I wore glasses, and all of these things were burdening my body. And as I started to be honest with myself, and one thing I didn't mention is I had insomnia for 30 years. I had so much shame. I went to bed as a kid until I was 14 years old. And my brother told everybody at school he was mad because we shared the same room and all of this stuff. And I had so much shame that I hid everything from the world because I was ashamed of who I was. And when I got with Cole, my wife, there was a period where we were just hanging out, and then she came to stay over one night, and I fell asleep, and I didn't understand why. Why did I fall asleep? And I started to backtrack what was going on. And that first night that she came and spent at my house, I told her all of my secrets that I had never told anybody. And my body actually relaxed, and I went to sleep. And that's when all my health stuff started to shift. I broke my back working at the hospital, and I could not work. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move for 3 months straight. And I decided that I wanted to keep people out of the hospital. So I revolutionized everything, and I started to be honest. And when I started to be honest, I could actually relax and fall into my and see take all of the knowledge that I had accumulated over the years through social interactions. I was a musician, and I toured through all of that stuff, and through all of the nursing knowledge that I had, and all of the body systems and personal training information that I had. And I started to connect the dots that I had never seen how they connected before. And I started to put all this stuff together, and I was like, wow. And I crafted my body into a body that fit into my lifestyle that I wanted. And so everything that I want, I attract through my body. And it's been absolutely miraculous. And that's how I got into this, was my body I fully crashed. And now when I want to change my body, I don't push myself into a crash space. I really evaluate all the things that I know, and I bring in resources. I create a team around it, and we get my body to fit into my lifestyle, and the body is designed for my lifestyle. So that's the nuts and bolts of how I got to where I was. I really had this nightmarish situation since I was a child of needing approval of my mom and everybody else, and crafting everybody else's pleasure around this identity or this idea of what I thought I should be for other people to be happy.
That's awesome. I think almost all of us have something that we fear or we're embarrassed about or something else, and we lock away in our little Pandora's box in our subconscious. And like you said, we probably self-sabotage ourselves from being successful in certain fields because it's a conflict of an interest to whatever's in that Pandora's box. And until you can release that and be truly authentic, and I know that's a word that's used a lot, have integrity, I'm authentic, but people are authentic to a certain point until it affects them or makes them look bad. And I know a lot of people who are authentic and they'll look foolish in front of other people, but they really subconsciously will not go to a certain space. So I applaud you for being able to do that, because I know I see in corporate America, I see in clients, I see myself probably, there are places you want to go and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna veer off now because it gets a little too uncomfortable.
Yeah. You know, Cole always says there's a difference between being genuine and being authentic. Most people have a genuine intention to be honest, a genuine intention to care, a genuine intention. It is genuine, but are they being authentic? Is it the real person? Is it the true you? You know, and you know, you can listen, I genuinely want you to have the best, so I'll be inauthentic so I can get you what I perceive is the best for you. And that's where the things get a little dicey, you know?
So we have, for everyone who's listening, we can't do one by one, but can you name probably the top 1, 2, or 3, probably the most, not popular, but the things that you see most often that are probably the biggest stumbling blocks for everyone? Like I said, everyone probably comes with a different myriad of challenges or opportunities, but do you see one that is maybe more often in more people just because they're maybe not breathing correctly, eating, sleeping, or whatever you would see?
Yeah, so people are not moving. And especially with what's going on in the world right now, people are not moving their bodies. And in order for your body to become more resilient and to change into anything, it has to be stressed to a point of changing into something that can handle multiple situations. So if you're sitting down all day long, your body is becoming attuned to sitting down all day long. You've got to get up and move. It's absolutely important for resilience. Movement is important. Hydration is another thing that people are not doing. People are not hydrating. People are in their houses and they're drinking soda, and they're in their houses and they're drinking
This is water.
They're drinking. The people in their house and they're not drinking enough water. It is really important to get at very least 2 liters of water per day. I don't care how much you weigh. That is the
Can I ask a question here?
What I suggest. Sure.
And there's probably other people like me who are probably uneducated. I've heard since I was the youngest, my mom was an RN growing up also, you have to drink X amount of water. Why? Just
Sure.
Flat out why? Because people always tell us, do this, do this, do this. Okay, just tell me why. What's the value benefit?
Water helps you to your body, first of all, is 2/3 with like 2/3 of water.
Okay.
And that includes your bones, your hair, everything has water in it. So water helps to exchange everything in your body. It helps you to have fluidity in your blood so that you can actually move things around. And so your blood moves nutrients, oxygen to the cells everywhere in your body. It also removes waste. And especially if you're home and you're thinking, and remember when I said earlier that your brain uses about 20 to 25% of your body's resources, it also creates a tremendous amount of waste, right? All of the end products of thinking, of doing, of activity, your brain creates a lot of waste. So this stuff needs to be moved through your brain, out of your brain, through your cells in your body, out of the cells in your body, taken to the kidneys, processed, and put out. And if these things are not put out, this waste builds up and it has to go somewhere. So if that waste can't go out of the body will shift it into your fat cells. And that is where things become problematic, is because you have all these waste products that are sitting in your fat cells. And those fat cells are usually the fat cells where you see this area here on the belly, right around that inner tube that they call that area of the body. And that gets stored there until until you either burn it off or whatever. And it can gradually get released into the body, and it wreaks havoc. So these things are really important for transportation. Water is important for transportation of oxygen, which is vital. You will die without oxygen. It is vital for the transportation of nutrients. It is vital for the transportation of waste products. And that is the thing that people really don't understand. Your waste products need to be moved. And the largest waste product in your body is carbon dioxide. And in order for the carbon dioxide to get to your lungs, it needs to move through the body. And if your blood is thick and viscous, it slows everything down, and it slows down the removal of waste products from your body. So those are the things that are really important for water.
So I have a question for you.
And one more thing, and temperature regulation with water as well.
So this is a question I have, and this might be a myth I hear, but people that live in cold climates like Alaska have thicker blood. If you live in warmer climates, Austin, Phoenix, Florida, you have thinner blood because it's warmer. Is that true? And is it better than to live in a warmer climate?
Well, I mean, it's not better or worse. Your body can acclimate to that. And
okay.
so your body will acclimate to it. I can't sit here and say I know for sure. There are different viscosities to people's blood in different places. When you take water and you put it in something cold, it slows down. When you put it in something hot, it speeds up. Also, in colder climates, the blood vessels constrict. Right, so it slows things down. So there are these different theories on it being a difference in blood viscosity or a difference in the lumen size of your vasculature. So that's, it can be either way with that.
And it's interesting that you said about temperature. You talked about temperature of water, but I've got into listening to a lot of podcasts, and one of the podcasts I listen to normally is Joe Rogan. He's really big into cryo freeze and then saunas and stuff. And I do cryo freeze. I haven't done it in a while, but I usually would do like twice a month a cryo freeze where you get in the chamber and it gets to be about 140 below for a couple of minutes. And then is it the red light sauna or infrared sauna, and you'll be there for 4 or 5 minutes. Can you talk about the value that you've seen or maybe have experienced from going to the extreme colds, like you said, to shock your body on the colds and the warms?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there have been numerous studies, countless studies, not just numerous, countless studies on the benefits of what it's called contrast. And you go from hot to cold, and you can do this in your shower. And this is what, when I hurt my shoulder, when I hurt my lower back, contrast showers were absolutely miraculous for me. And the thing with contrast, like I was saying, if you look at the lumen of your capillaries, when things are hot or warm, they expand. And when they're cold, they contract. So as you go from hot to cold, there's kind of a pumping situation. And when you open things up, it allows certain things to come from the cells into the bloodstream so that it can get taken away or brought back. So as you have that expanded lumen and the expanded space between the cells of your blood vessels, things can there's a pump that goes on. So it makes for amazing removal of waste in spaces of the body, like connective tissue, which is in your joints and that type of stuff, where blood doesn't normally go really easily. Your connective tissue, your fascia, your ligaments, your tendons, these things don't get a lot of blood supply. So when you have that pumping and that opening and that pumping and closing, it can actually remove waste products from your joints and your musculature in ways that aren't the commonplace situation. So it's actually really beneficial to go from hot to cold, do a contrast shower once a week. Some people go into the extreme cold plunges every day, and then they get out and they go in a hot shower. And it's the things that I've seen with people have been awesome.
So this is a good question. A lot of us are not getting out. For some of us, that's great. But I have down the street, I have a cryo place, so I can go there. But obviously, they're closed right now. So if someone does this at home, how long do you don't scold yourself with hot water, but you probably get as warm as or hot as you can. How long would you do that? And then how long would you turn on the cold? And do you go hot to cold or cold to hot, or does it matter?
It doesn't really matter. What I tell people to start with is cold and then go into hot. So it's cold for 2 minutes, hot for 2 minutes. And that is, it's really important that you understand that this is a gradual turn into the hot. Okay. I mean, you can stand,
Yeah.
you can, the cold may make you do this, but you will burn yourself if you're not careful. And there are certain buildings and stuff in New York where if you turn the hot water on, tea is coming out of the faucet. So you got to really be careful. So, gradually turn it into a point where it's hot, but you can manage it. You don't want to burn yourself. It's really, really important not to burn yourself when you're doing contrast showers. Yeah, so that's it. 2 minutes on. That's where I find the best results. 2 minutes on, 2 minutes hot, 2 minutes cold, 6 minutes, and then you're done.
And this sounds weird, but
8 minutes, excuse me.
we were talking about the brain. So should you get your head under so the water's hitting you on the head, the chest, the back? Does it matter if you're shivering, or should you try to be open? Does it matter?
I've heard different viewpoints on that as well. I like to put if I'm going to do a whole body contrast shower, I get my head in there. And the reason is your head releases more heat than any place in your body.
Okay.
And your brain utilizes a lot of energy again. So there's a lot of heat in this area of your body. So when you get your head in the contrast, your brain, I don't think your brain constricts. I don't know. But when you get your head in there, it actually allows the temperature of your whole body to change a lot quicker when you get your head in. If submerging yourself into an ice bath, that's again, there are a lot of different viewpoints on that. I like to put my head in the cold water when I take a contrast shower, and I also like to put my head in the water when I put the hot water on as well.
Well, that's awesome, because that's something I will try, and I think something that we can all do. Is there anything that you said you want to shock the system or test the system for someone who's maybe under the age of 15, where they have limited resources to go out and around the house, somebody like our age, middle age, and then someone like my mom who's like 82 and obviously doesn't have the ability to go out, maybe with a bad hip or something else? What can someone do? And I think what you just said with the shower is fantastic. Is there anything else that people can do around their house that's a good workout to shock the system, but not, overcomplicate things?
Well, shocking the system, it depends on what you're looking to accomplish. Shocking the system is going to get results that will get a person into being able to manage shock. One of the things that I have been talking to people about is being in plank position for an extended period of time, and the amount of musculature that is required for a person to hold a plank is dramatic. And to be able to hold that plank for extended periods of time will get you into a place where your body will actually tremble, and it's holding your body in a place where it's not moving too much, but everything is activated. And getting into a plank and then getting your neck to move from side to side, nod up and down, right? Really getting into barreling out the chest and then relaxing, barreling out the chest and relaxing for extended periods of time. That has been magical for a lot of the people that I've been working with. It also pulls you out of a thinking space when the body gets really, really active. So consciousness, right? Your awareness goes to the place of the most noise. And noise can be in the form of sound. It can be in the form of tension or pain or discomfort. It can be in the form of light, light noise, and all of these different types of sound, of noise. So when you get into plank position, if you're getting into a headspace and you're thinking and you can't stop thinking, if you get into plank and you hold yourself in that plank, the focus that starts to happen after you become uncomfortable will pull you out of any thinking space there is. And if you want to shock yourself out of a thinking space, plank position is the absolute best thing to do for an extended period of time. And it will tighten up your entire body. So
and are you looking at one time, very long, or sets of?
Well, I mean, if you can't hold for long periods of time, sets of would be ideal. If you can hold plank for 10 seconds and then stop and for 30 seconds and get back in it and hold for 10 seconds until you can build it up, If you can do plank for a minute, do plank for a minute and wait 30 seconds, and then do it for another minute and wait 30 seconds. If you can do it for 2 minutes, keep extending it. I've done a 10-minute plank, man, and and it is one of the most challenging spaces I've ever been in. And I do a lot of high intensity, high burst lifting, jumping, running, all of these things, and nothing has challenged my body like being in an extended plank position. Nothing, absolutely nothing.
So you talked about showering, and you called it transitional shower? Is that
contrast?
Oh, contrast showering.
Contrast shower.
So that's good for the body. Go cold to hot for 2 minutes at a time. You talked about planks. Now, some people might have a bad shoulder, bad hip, or might be not in the plank shape they want to be. Is it okay to start on your knees? Does that give you?
Yes, it's okay to start on your knees. It's okay to put your hands on the wall,
okay,
or on a table.
Okay.
And just hold your body still for an extended period of time. There are also wall sits, putting your back against the wall and then kind of bending your knees a little bit and pushing yourself and holding for a long period of time, and just see what it's like to get your body into a space where it's starting to be a challenge. Your body temperature will raise, you will get sweaty. I don't care how much powerlifting or whatever you've done, getting on that wall and sitting against that wall for an extended period of time is going to challenge you. Holding a plank for an extended period of time is going to challenge you. It is absolutely going to challenge you. There are, what else can people do? People can, we do on our Life Team page on Facebook, we've been doing fitness challenges every month for people to of all fitness levels to come in and just do 30 moves a day. And not 30 moves, 30 reps a day of certain exercises, and people are doing it. And it's just, you got to get your body moving, your blood pumping, your temperature elevated, your lungs expanding, because when you're sitting down for long periods of time, your lungs don't have to expand. So your ribs start to atrophy a little bit. The muscles around your ribs start to atrophy. Your diaphragm starts to get a little lazy, and it starts to program your body for sitting down. So getting up and being able to really breathe. And when you get into that plank position, really breathe and start to see the interaction between your oxygen exchange, your oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange, your water intake, your nutrition, and all of that with how you move, is an experimental place that you can spend 10 minutes a day really creating wonders in the body.
This is awesome. And I know we're getting up to a time limit, and we don't really have a time limit, but I want to be conscious of your time.
No, I'm good, man. I'm good to go.
And so what I really want to do, I think the showering is fantastic, because anyone should be able to do that as long as we're taking care of our water bills. Planks or being against the wall, I think, is a good, able exercise for people. One other thing that I think a lot of us can do, but don't maximize and do it correctly. Can you talk about breathing? I've heard and I've read so many things about breathing. I've seen podcasts about breathing, like you said, to expand your lungs, to hold it, to do that. What is the value, and is there a quick, I don't like the word trick, but a process or a method to breathe correctly?
Well, correctly for me is relative. I mean, if you're alive, you're breathing correctly, right? You're getting oxygen in. There are ways to be able to get your body in a space where you maximize oxygen exchange. There's a maximum air exchange, optimized air exchange. And when you can sit and so there's something called forbidden breathing. And what it is you take an inhale for one, hold for one, exhale for one. Then you increase it, but you increase the numbers. So it's inhale for 2, hold for 2, exhale for 2. Then you just go up 3, 4, 5, 6.
Are you doing this through your nose and out through your mouth?
Yep.
Okay.
In through the nose, out through the mouth. But you want to really get your rib cage involved and expand. Get your diaphragm to come up. So I'm going to stand up for a second. So you want to get this to come in, this to come out, right? Bring in your musculature, open up the whole cage, and it's an exaggeration. And so when you get yourself into a space when you can do an exaggerated breathing for 5 minutes, your body starts to, and you do it 2 or 3 times a day, it starts to become a habit. So your body, another thing that I've worked with people on that has been really awesome is every time you get to a doorway in your house, deep breath. Deep breath. When my wife does Wim Hof breathing, and she taught me how to do Wim Hof breathing. It's pretty awesome, just like a version of Wim Hof's hyperoxygenation situation until you get dizzy. And it's really, it's been miraculous for me in getting myself to be able to focus. And I find myself when I get a little cloudy in the daytime, I will breathe. And it's a real fast breathing through in and out through the nose, and it's for, I think it's 30 times, and then you pull, it's 30 or 15 times, something like that. I do it with her. She does it, and I just follow her. And you hold it, you breathe in, and you hold it, and then you exhale until you can't exhale anymore, and then you relax, and then you do it again for 2 cycles. And man, it's pretty incredible how clear I become when I'm doing it with her. But I let her guide me through it.
Okay. So I want
but
to.
I can also bring that.
Did you go?
I'm still here.
Okay, good. So you just your audio went off. I just wanted to run over to our Facebook page real quick, and there are a couple questions, and I just wanted to have you answer them if possible.
Sure.
So one was, whoops, on that. One was from Pancho. What is considered a long time? So I'm not sure when they brought this question up and if it had to do with the shower. I think you've talked about 2 minutes. I think you've talked about the planks, do as long as you can. You've just set the bar 10 minutes for most of us. And then as far as breathing, if they're talking about that, I have had 2 people ask the question, what do you consider a long time? And I think you said 5 minutes, 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 5 minutes. Yeah. 5 minutes, 3 times a day, getting into that breathing, getting into a breathing space where you just feel into your breath, really feel into your breath and see if you can challenge yourself. The body changes through discomfort and not pain. So this is one of the things that people come to me all the time. I'm doing this until I get into pain. Pain is a signal that something is wrong. I do not recommend exercising or doing anything into a point where you are in a space of pain. The body responds to pain by shutting down. If your arm is hurting, it will shut down movement in the arm. You don't want to move through pain. When you get to a space of discomfort, it tells the body, hey, the body's do this more effectively the next time. So when you get into a space and it gets uncomfortable, hold it in the discomfort for a couple of seconds and then release. And then get back into that discomfort space and see if you can hold it for a couple more seconds. The more you have discomfort, the more your body will change. The more your body will become habitual in a space where it can manage that discomfort so it's not uncomfortable anymore. And this is why when you go to the gym and you start doing bicep curls, or you're in your house and you're doing bicep curls, you get sore in your biceps. And then after a couple of weeks, oh man, I'm not sore anymore, because your body has acclimated, it has changed, it has made more of a capacity for you to be able to do that. It's the same thing if you were lifting shopping bags or doing squats, breathing. You want to get into a space where you're uncomfortable, make yourself uncomfortable, and you'll start to see your body become more resilient in that space. And this is why when you're doing that breathing, you want to hold, the breathing that I was telling you, the stack breathing, you inhale for 1, hold for 1, exhale for 1, inhale for 2, hold for 2, exhale for 2, and you keep staggering that up. You get to a point where you're uncomfortable and it's like, I don't think I can hold this anymore, and you let it go. But if it becomes painful and your ribs start hurting, you have to stop, because then that just programs your body to constrict and not allow you to do things. So that's the timing has to be for the individual. I'm giving you a marker of 5 minutes because I think 5 minutes, 3 times a day, really working on your breath can extend and change things. But you really have to feel into yourself. And this is where being the master of your own space is important.
And I know a lot of us probably, especially if we're just starting this, 5 minutes might seem like a long time. So I think just setting a bar for yourself and then moving it instead of spiking up really bad, once, and then being at a place like, this is too intimidating, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, for the breathing, I would start with 30 seconds 3 times a day, and then keep going, stagger it. I'm a fan of journaling. So if you started the breathing situation, hey, today I'm going to breathe for 30 seconds. And then tomorrow I'm going to breathe for 35 seconds. And then the next day I'll do 40 seconds, whatever, and just write it down in your journal. The same thing with the contrast showers. Don't start with 2 minutes in hot and 2 minutes in cold. Start with 30 seconds. See what it's like. Your body, and when you get in a contrast shower, your body's going to get in the shower and see if you can get your body to slow down your breathing, because that shock that comes in from the cold water is going to be, oh, you know, just slow. Take your time. This is your body. You're with you 24 hours a day. Okay. So you have time to do this. People will say that they don't have time, especially now while we're in this quarantine situation. You have time with yourself. Take your time and really start to explore. Make your body your experiment. This whole world is your laboratory. This is your experiment. Are you going to be the scientist, or is somebody else going to be the scientist on you?
I like that. And I really love how you made certain exercises simple but very impactful. So I'm definitely going to try the showers. And I really liked how you talked about with your wife, every time you pass the doorway, think about breathing. I'm habitual on certain things. So if I just start doing that for a day or two or three and program it in my mind, every time I get on an elevator, I leave my house, or I walk in the bedroom, just get a good breath and stuff.
Every time, and so you'll notice that every time you walk through a doorway, your body will do it. It becomes a subconscious program, just like anything else. Once you do that, it becomes a program, and it's awesome.
So the one thing I do hear that people have said, true or not, is that sitting is the new stress for the body. What is there a time limit saying, you know, if you're sitting for more than 40 minutes, need to get up? I mean, obviously, if you're writing and you're in the zone, you're going to be in there. But should people put on a timer? And if they're in a meeting, they can't always stand up. But if you're sitting for more than 30, 40, 50 minutes, you should get up or breathe or do something just to move.
Yes. So many people don't know this, but in the research that I've done and the practitioners that I've worked with, and just from nursing, when you're sitting down, you're putting 11 times the amount of stress on your spine than you do when you're standing up. 11 times the amount of pressure on your lumbar spine than when you're standing up. I've looked at the physics of it and all of that. I don't get it, but these are people who are physiotherapists and people who are kinesiologists. Every time I've gone to somebody, it's been 11 times the amount of pressure sitting down on your spine and your hips than when you're standing up. And so getting up every 15 minutes to an hour, every 15 minutes to a half hour is really important. I believe just standing up. The maximum I would stay in a seat is an hour. The absolute cap is an hour. There's just, I fractured the L5, and I had a herniation in L5S1. And I am very astute about my lower back. So I will not sit for longer than an hour. And if I am in a space where I am not allowed to sit for more than an hour, business is not happening with those people or that situation. And I don't care if the world is coming to an end. If I cannot stand up in a meeting, I'm not having it. And I know that's not the case for other people. But again, when you start talking about being honest with yourself, when you start talking about being authentic, is this the kind of situation that you want to be in? Because posture is all presentation. Your body is presenting itself in how your posture is. So if you don't protect that posture, your posture will get built for injury, will get built for destruction. And this is part of what I was talking about at the beginning. If you can be authentic with yourself, your posture is part of that. And if you can't be in a business situation or a situation in school or whatever where you can stand up for 2 seconds and sit back down, there's a serious issue there. So I would say every 15, 30, or maximum an hour.
Okay. I think all these tips and processes will help people. And since I'm the one asking some questions and I've looked at Facebook, I'm going to ask one personal one for me, and then I'll let you go. I've never been and the reason I'm going to ask this question is because I know a lot of people out there have the same piece. And it was like you said, insomnia. It's not, for myself, it's not insomnia. I just don't sleep as much. So I can go to bed at 2, wake up at 6, and I don't sleep. I've gone to sleep clinics and they've wired me up overnight, and they say you didn't snore, you're not overweight, you just don't do it. As I got older, they said you have, quote, a fat tongue. So as you're breathing, sometimes your tongue might fall back, and so somebody like myself, or for other people who have sleeping challenges at time, is there something that you would say, hey, try this out or focus on this or think about this because you have seen through clients or yourself experience an improvement in sleep?
Yeah. So there are a few things. I actually wrote a book about my experiences with insomnia. It's called Luminous Dark Alleys: The Insomniac Works. It actually sold out, so I have to get it redone because it's
Okay.
sold out. Um, but I tried a lot of things, and again, the number one thing for me with going to sleep was being honest and being in a place where I'm with a person or people where I feel absolutely safe so that there's no threat to me. I don't have to perform. The person I'm lying next to, I can be completely honest with, allowed my body to relax, allow my brain to actually relax and shut my consciousness out.
So
I
that I
still
think,
have nights where,
oh, sorry.
Mhm.
I think that would
No,
be
no,
the question I would ask mostly, especially during this time, being stressed with businesses and everything else. I have what I call monkey brain, just always thinking of less, thinking of things. That's what I would love to understand because when I'm not thinking so much, I can fall asleep. So it was one of those things back in the day that I joke about. I love watching the Masters because I could sit on the couch, watch a golf tournament, and they talk so calmly, and I'm not thinking. I can fall asleep. But when I go to bed,
Mhm.
it's kind of like, okay, what do I have to do tomorrow? What do I do today? Da, da. And during this pandemic, a lot of people are worried about the financial side and everything else. So,
Right. So everything in the human organism is habit. Everything. The way you breathe is habit. The way you walk. Am I still with you? Because my
yeah,
voice
yeah,
is
yeah. We're good.
unstable. Uh, Everything is habit, right? So the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you move, the way you write your name is a habit. Everything is a habit. And so our habit is also driven by our environment. And if your bedroom environment is or it's conducive to you waking up all the time, your bedroom habitat might be worth readjusting, turning the way your bed is, uh, getting different curtains, doing something in your bedroom. What do you have a bedroom ritual? Are you doing the same ritual and having the same sleep results? Do you brush your teeth at the same time? What is the time between you turn your alarm, your phone off or your blue light stuff off and you go to sleep? Are you having dinner with lights above your head, right? Or are you having candles that are underneath you? Humans are designed, were designed around, for the last couple of million years, around fires. So our bodies were designed into flames and fires beneath us. After we eat, there's a fire beneath us, and that's the last light we see before we go to sleep, because the sun above us also signifies that it's daytime, it's time to be awake. So are the lights right before you go to sleep on? So these are part of a winding down process for the physiology.
This is
So
why
those things have
better
been
because they
really,
always have candles on.
huh?
I don't mean this as a sexist thing, but is this a reason why some women sleep better? Because some women always like candles, and men too. But typically I've seen girlfriends, with candles on a lot, and they seem to sleep well. And I'm just like, ugh. I'm like,
It could be, most of the people that I've interacted with that have insomnia are male. So there are some female people that I've worked with that have had insomnia, but it comes nowhere even close. It's probably 75% of the people that I've dealt with are men that have insomnia.
is it mostly
And so
stress or?
it's the habitual thinking space. People are get into a habitual thinking space and they're not articulating the things that are in their mind. So if you could articulate the things, if you could be like, man, Tah, all this stuff is going on, I need to talk to you about this stuff, let me talk to you about this, blah, 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 and get it out, or writing it down, journaling. All just get the journal and just let your hand just go with all of the stuff that's happening, and actually write in the journal, I'll come back and revisit this tomorrow, right? This thought that's happening, I'm gonna revisit this tomorrow at 2 p.m. and actually give yourself that space at 2 p.m. the next day to revisit those thoughts so that you don't have to spin on it. I'm gonna give myself a break. You know what? I'm thinking about the finances in business, and I'm worried, I'm afraid, or what will happen in 10 years. But just write it all down, get it out, say it out loud, For me, it helps to stand in front of the mirror and say these things out loud so I can get it out loud and be like, you know what, I'm going to come back to this tomorrow. It actually lets my body off the hook physiologically. There's a space between mind and brain. And mind for me is consciousness. It's how we perceive all of this stuff. It's the mystical. And sometimes we can think about things in the mind and not bring it into the brain. And so there's this lack of cohesion between mind and brain. When you bring it into the brain and you say, okay, I'm going to address this tomorrow, you let the body relax and the body gets off the hook. And so that has been a game changer for me to actually say, you know what? I'm going to deal with this tomorrow at 4 p.m. And then I actually put it in my calendar or I put it in my journal and I look at the journal in the morning and I go deal with it the next day. And it allows me to get off the hook. So that handles a lot of the monkey mind situation. Also, you know, high intensity exercise for me really gets me into a point where my body is like, you know what, we're going to sleep. And we're going to sleep for an extended period of time because we've got to rejuvenate. So also making sure that you're having the right amount of amino acids in your diet so that your body has the tools that it needs to rebuild itself. If it doesn't have the tools on board, then what is it going to rebuild? It's not going to do anything. So it'll stay up. Mm-hmm.
I'll raise my hand for everyone out there, but mostly myself. Tell me what an amino acid is and give me like 2 or 3 foods that I can find it in, because I'm a very simpleton, like avocado, get it. Tomato.
Sure. So you know what proteins are? Proteins are the building blocks of the human physiology. There's proteins that build your hair. There's proteins that build your bones. That's collagen, right? We've got elastin. We got all these different proteins that help to build the structures of the whole human body. And all of our cells can create, like inside your cell is a factory, and it takes amino acids and it creates proteins. And that's how cells replicate. That's how you build your hair. That's how you build everything in your body from protein, from amino acids. So amino acids are in everything, okay? But plants tend to have less amino acids than animal proteins, right? So less protein than animal products. Your body takes the protein that you eat. It when you digest it, it actually breaks. So if this is a protein, your body in digestion breaks the protein up into amino acids. Then it takes the amino acids and it recreates proteins to create new muscle, new hair, new fingernails, new eye. Everything in your body gets reproduced through amino acids. So making sure that your body has enough, it's what we call a positive nitrogen balance, because proteins are nitrogenous, right? They're high nitrogen content. When you have enough protein in your body so that your body has an adequate supply of circulating amino acids, and if you don't have an overflow of amino acids, your body has to break its own tissues up. It will go to your muscles first to break up the muscles, create amino acids to make new proteins. So this is where it's important to make sure that you have an adequate amount of protein in your diet. And there, you know, I eat mostly plant-based, but sometimes I eat eggs, sometimes I'll have fish. But if you're not eating animal proteins, having a supplemented amino acid full panel, not just there are branch chain amino acids that are cool for exercise, but that's only 3 amino acids. Having a full spectrum amino acid situation is really important. And the body can create a lot of amino acids, but there are essential amino acids that you cannot create. And so having a full panel of amino acids is really important. And I can shoot you a link to the amino acids that I use that are awesome. And having that in your diet is really important. And they also help you to trigger, when you have a circulating amino acids, it helps to trigger your body to go to actually into a rest space. Okay, we've got the amino acids happening after we've eaten, the amino acids are circulating, it's time to start triggering the sleep cycle. And it starts to trigger the sleep cycle and your body gets tired and it makes you go to sleep. So these are really important things for people to start to understand, is that your diet is crucial for sleep. If you are not eating, you will not go to sleep properly. I can just about guarantee it. I've been in that space before. 9/10 of the people that we work with, when they have sleep issues, when they change their diet to match their lifestyle and have a circulating amino acid situation, they go to sleep.
And I will be the first one to say it. Like I said, there are days that 2 days ago, I realized I haven't had anything to eat till 7 o'clock at night. And I noticed a lot of times if I try to go to bed, I don't care if it's 11 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning. If I'm hungry, I'll have a peanut butter sandwich and milk and I'll sleep better because my stomach is coated. And I know a lot of people say don't eat before you sleep, but it helps me. So
It does.
well, good. Well, you've just been a huge wealth of information. This has been fantastic. I know I can listen to you forever and saying, what about this? What about this? And I know there's a lot of people out there that would benefit from your value and your great experience. Is there a best way for someone to get a hold of you or to contact you or to learn more about you or set up a time just to talk with you?
Yeah, so there are two main ways that we encourage people to reach out, and you can text. If you have a mobile phone, you can text the word optimize. It's OPTIMIZE, optimize, to the number 22999, and that puts you in the inner circle list on the people who want to get notifications from us and emails and that type of stuff on all the things that we're talking about, the tips that we put out. So it's optimized to 22999. You could also go to our website, and it's tahcole.com. It's TAHKOLE, tahcole.com. And just there's a form at the bottom that you can fill out and set up a call with us, and so we can chat and get to know you and see if working with us is something that you're interested in. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, Tah Cole. Just look for us, TAHKOLE.
This has been awesome. Thank you so much for this education. I think it's come at a perfect time where people are trying to change some habits and do things differently. And I think you went over a wealth of them today, and you probably just didn't even think about it, but the showering, the breathing, the sleeping, these other pieces that I think are going to be huge for a lot of people, and you do make such a big difference. So I implore people that are questioning what's going on with their lives, happiness or weight or sleeping or whatever, give Tah a call because he and his wife are fantastic.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you so much. It's such an honor to be here with you, man. Thank you. Thank you for all the work that you're doing, and thank you for sending me my words of the day every day. I appreciate you so much, man.
Good. Well, I thank you so much. Tell your wife hi for me and enjoy the rest of your day. Be well, my friend.
All right, you too, man.